Look, I need to tell someone this story. It's been eating at me for over 10 years now. And I figure, what the hell, maybe getting it out there will help me finally make sense of it. Or maybe you'll just think I'm full of shit. Either way, here goes. It was New Year's Eve, about a decade ago. I'd moved to this medium-sized city 8 months earlier for a job. One of those opportunities you can't turn down even if it means leaving everything behind. And I mean everything. My family, my friends, my entire support system. All 3 time zones away. The holidays had been brutal. I spent Thanksgiving eating General Tso's chicken straight from the container while my mom tried to show me the turkey through FaceTime. Christmas was even worse. Netflix and bourbon while watching everyone's Instagram stories of family gatherings. Work had been insane, making it impossible to fly home. The price of success, right? But New Year's Eve was supposed to be different. Anna from work had basically forced me to come out with everyone. Anna. God, I had such a thing for her back then. We all did, probably. She'd been my lifeline since I started in the spring, showing me around, explaining which partners were assholes and which ones were just pretending to be. She had this way of touching your arm when she talked that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. "You're not spending another holiday alone," she'd said, and that was that. The plan was Murphy's Irish pub, then a bar crawl through midnight. Simple enough. I parked in this garage on 3rd Street. I remember because I was so proud of myself for not needing GPS. 8 months in the city, and I knew my way around. Or so I thought. That's the thing about confidence. Sometimes it's just stupidity wearing a nice suit. After about 20 minutes of walking, I knew I was lost. The bustling downtown area had given way to something older, quieter. These weren't the glass and steel buildings I was used to. These were brick and stone monuments to another era, leaning over narrow streets like they were sharing secrets. Some had these brass plaques, built 1878, restored 1913, that kind of historic feel. Others just stood empty, windows dark, looking abandoned but somehow watchful. My phone was useless. The GPS just spun and spun, like even it didn't want to know where I was. I could practically hear Anna teasing me. "Just use the damn app, Drew." But here's where it gets weird. And I mean weird. All the sounds of New Year's Eve, the drunk groups laughing, the music spilling from bars, the general chaos of a city celebrating, it all just stopped, like someone had thrown a switch. Even my footsteps sounded wrong, muffled, like the pavement was absorbing them. That's when I saw the church. I need you to understand, this thing didn't look like it belonged in reality. It was massive, gothic, all dark brick and sharp angles reaching up into the night. The spire looked like it was stabbing the sky. The roof was this black metal that seemed to eat light. And the doors. Christ, those doors. Huge wooden things with carvings all over them. Saints and angels twisted into shapes that didn't look quite right in the shadows. Now I was raised Catholic. Altar boy, the whole 9 yards, though I hadn't been to Mass since high school. But churches are supposed to be safe, right? Sanctuary and all that jazz. And I was freezing my ass off, completely lost and starting to panic about missing midnight with Anna. So I went in. The door opened way too easily, like it had been waiting for me. And I swear to God, it got colder inside. The smell hit me immediately. Old incense, dust, and something else. Something organic and wrong that I couldn't place. The main hall was enormous. Rows of pews led to an altar that seemed miles away. These massive statues flanked it, but I couldn't make out their faces in the dark. The stained glass windows were just black rectangles. And above everything, this wooden balcony ran along the upper level with these Gothic railings that, I shit you not, seemed to move when I wasn't looking directly at them. By the entrance, there was this little shelf with candles. You know the type. Light a candle, say a prayer, drop a buck in the box. Quaint, normal church stuff. I had a crumpled dollar in my pocket. Tip money I'd been saving for the bartender. Figured what the hell, maybe God or whoever would help me find my way to the damn bar. I lit my candle, watched the flame catch and steady. Here's hoping I find my way, I said out loud, like an idiot. My voice sounded thin, swallowed up by all that darkness. That's when I noticed the spiral staircase near the altar. Wrought iron, worn smooth, leading up to that balcony. And here's where I made my second stupid decision of the night. I decided to go up. The steps creaked under my weight, but I kept going. From up there, I could see the whole hall spread out below. My little candle flame looked pathetic against all that darkness, but it was something. Then I saw it. Remember my candle by the entrance? Still burning, steady and warm. But right next to it, another candle was lit. I know what you're thinking. Someone else came in while I was climbing the stairs. But no, the door had groaned like a dying animal when I opened it. I would have heard, and I was certain, deadly certain, that second candle hadn't been lit before. My blood turned to ice water. I looked down at the base of the spiral staircase. There was a shadow there, but wrong, all wrong. It was human-shaped, I guess, but the proportions were monstrous. Shoulders too broad, arms way too long, and it just stood there. Not moving, but somehow I could feel it looking at me, considering me, deciding what to do with me. Hello? My voice cracked like I was 13 again. Nothing. I started backing toward the stairs, keeping my eyes on where the shadow had been, because it was gone, just gone, like it had never existed. I practically fell down those stairs trying to get to the main floor. The hall was empty, but the air felt full, occupied, like something was holding its breath, waiting. Then every light in the place, what little there had been, went out. I'm talking absolute perfect darkness, the kind where you can't see your hand in front of your face, the kind that makes you understand why humans invented fire. I heard shuffling, dragging, like something heavy being pulled across stone, getting closer. The only light came from those candles by the entrance. Mine and the other one. These two tiny flames in an ocean of black. Then a voice, low, guttural, coming from everywhere and nowhere.
Get out!
I looked up. Don't ask me why, instinct maybe, and there was something on the ceiling, moving across it like a massive spider, limbs spread wide, face hidden, but somehow I knew it was looking right at me, studying me, deciding if I was worth the effort. I ran. Slammed into the door so hard I almost knocked myself out. The handle wouldn't budge. The door was locked. I was going to die in there on New Year's Eve, in a church that shouldn't exist, and Anna would think I'd just blown her off like an ass. Then my fingers found the bolt, old, rusty, but it slid back, and the door flew open. I stumbled out into the street, gasping like I'd been drowning. The cold air burned, but hell, I'd never been so happy to feel anything. I spun around, expecting to see that thing coming after me. The church door stood open. Pure black rectangle. The candles barely visible. Everything inside perfectly still. Then, from deep in that darkness, footsteps, slow, measured, coming toward the door. I just ran. No looking back, no thinking. Just pure animal panic. I ran until my legs felt like they were going to give out. until the buildings started looking normal again, modern and safe and real. When I finally saw Murphy's, I almost cried. Through the window, I could see everyone. Anna checking her phone, probably texting me, wondering where the hell I was. I stood outside for a minute, trying to stop shaking, trying to think of what to say. Then I went in. "Drew! Finally!" Anna hugged me and she smelled like perfume and beer and normal life. "You're freezing. What happened?" "Got lost," I said, forcing myself to smile. "This city's more confusing than I thought." She laughed, pulled me to the table, and the night became a blur of shots and countdowns and midnight kisses on cheeks. I almost forgot about the church. Almost. The next morning, hungover as hell but unable to stop thinking about it, I drove back. I had to know if I'd imagined it, had some kind of episode or something. I found it, the church, but it was dead, boarded up. Windows covered in rotting plywood and graffiti. The door I'd walked through was chained shut with padlocks that had rusted solid years ago. Part of the roof had collapsed. The brick was crumbling. It looked like it had been abandoned for decades. A historical marker stood by the sidewalk. St. Bartholomew's Catholic Church, 1868 to 1984. Closed by the Catholic Diocese Order. My phone search told me the rest. 2 priests, McKenna and Donnelly, found hanging from the bell tower beams in 1984. Suicide pact, the papers said, though there were rumors of darker shit. The diocese shut it down immediately. The building had been rotting ever since, but I'd been inside. I'd seen polished pews, a gleaming altar, centuries-old architecture in perfect condition. I'd lit a candle that probably still had my fingerprints on it. That was over 10 years ago. I married Anna, if you can believe it. We've got 2 kids, a mortgage, and that suburban American dream. But sometimes, late at night when everyone's asleep, I lie there thinking about that church, about what opened that door for me, about what wanted me out, about what would have happened if I'd stayed. I've never told Anna, never told anyone until now. How could I? "Hey, honey, remember that New Year's Eve when I was late? Yeah, I was in a ghost church being threatened by some demonic ceiling-crawling nightmare fuel. Right. But sometimes we drive through that old part of town, past St. Bartholomew's, and she notices how my hands tighten on the wheel, how I look away. God, that place is creepy, she'll say. Yeah, I agree. Really creepy. But here's what keeps me up at night. That church, the one I was in, it existed somewhere. Maybe it still does. Maybe it's always there, pristine and terrible, existing alongside the ruined version, waiting for the next person to get lost on the wrong night, waiting for them to light a candle, waiting to tell them to get the hell out. Or maybe one night it won't tell them to leave at all. And that's my story. Make of it what you will. But if you're ever lost in an old part of your city, and you see a church that looks a little too perfect, a little too inviting, keep walking. Trust me on this one. Just keep walking. I didn't want to go, honestly. That's the truth. Not because I'm bitter, not because I'm jealous. I'm not. If anything, I wanted to be happy for my fiance's sister and brother-in-law, Clara and Miles. A new house is a big deal. It's supposed to be a milestone you share, not a trophy you wave around. But Clara and Miles weren't the quiet milestone type. Everything with them came with an unspoken audience. New car, new vacation, new furniture. There was always a way to bring it up so it sounded casual, while still making sure everyone understood exactly how nice it was, how much it cost, how exclusive it was. Christina knew this. She'd known it her whole life. Still, she was her sister. So when Clara texted an invite to a New Year's Eve party at their newly constructed house, a 5,500 square foot custom this, heated that, look what we did, Christina did what she always does. She rolled her eyes, sighed, and said, "We have to show up. It's family." We weren't going to stay long. That was the plan. Smile, congratulate, do the tour, watch the ball drop if we had to, and leave early enough that we didn't get trapped in endless small talk and low-key bragging. We brought champagne, expensive enough that Clara wouldn't tilt her head and say, "Oh, I've never heard of this brand." By the time we pulled out of the driveway, the sun had been down for over an hour, and whatever warmth the day had left was gone. At first it was fine, just a winter drive, the kind where the headlights feel like they're cutting a tunnel through the world. Christina was in the passenger seat with Clara's directions pulled up, following along with the GPS. About 50 minutes in, the GPS started acting strange. Recalculating, it said. Then a few minutes later, it said it again. Christina tapped the screen like she could scold it into behaving. "It keeps dropping." "It'll come back," I said. Phones do that out in rural areas. But it didn't stop. It would work for a bit, then freeze. It would show us on the road, then suddenly jump our location a mile sideways like we'd teleported. Sometimes the route line would just disappear and redraw itself like it was guessing. Christina checked her signal. 1 bar, then none, then 1 bar again. "How does my sister live in a place with no service?" she muttered. "She doesn't live there," I said. "She built a palace there." That got a quick laugh out of her, short, annoyed, real. 2 hours later, that laugh was gone. The roads had narrowed. The houses had thinned out. Then the houses disappeared completely. It was just trees and darkness and a winding ribbon of pavement that didn't feel familiar in any direction. Christina stared down at her phone. "Okay, we're lost." I didn't argue. I just kept driving slow enough to be safe, scanning for any sign, street name, address marker, anything. Then we hit railroad tracks. Not an official crossing, no lights, no arms, no signs. Just rough, abandoned-looking rails set into the road. The car jolted hard going over them, like the tracks didn't care whether they damaged your suspension. Christina looked up. That didn't feel maintained. "Yeah," I said. "Imagine hitting that going too fast." We kept going. 14 miles later, the road ended. No dead-end warning, no turnaround sign. Just pavement stopping at a wall of trees like the builder ran out of interest. Christina stared ahead. "You have to be kidding me." "We'll turn around," I said. I started reversing to make a 3-point turn, careful at first. But the shoulder was softer than it looked under the snow. I backed up just a little too far. The rear tires dropped off the pavement. Not a dramatic plunge, just enough. Then the car settled at a slight tilt and refused to move. I tried forward, tires spun. I tried reverse, tires spun. The sound was ugly, rubber grinding wet snow and dirt, the engine straining like it was embarrassed. Christina exhaled sharply and got out, slamming her door. She stood there looking at the back tires like sheer disappointment might pull them free. "Perfect," she said. "Just perfect." I popped the trunk and grabbed the sandbags I kept back there. I'd carried them for years. One of those things you keep because you grew up somewhere that taught you winter doesn't care how prepared you think you are. For 20 minutes, we worked on it like normal adults solving a normal problem. I wedged sand under the tires, packed it in, rocked the car gently, tried again. Christina held her phone flashlight and looked down the road in both directions like help might appear. And then she said it, loud, irritated, half to herself, half to the universe. Great! What else could possibly go wrong? This night can't get any worse. I remember looking at her right after she said it and thinking, don't say that. Don't challenge the night. I didn't respond. I just looked back down and kept working. Time kept crawling. The cold has a way of stretching minutes into something heavier. 10 felt like an hour out there. I was mid-thought when Christina stopped moving. I noticed because the flashlight beam stopped shaking and went perfectly still. Dawson, she said, and her tone changed, like her frustration just got swallowed by something else. What's up? I replied. She just responded, Dawson. Stress filling her voice. I looked up. There were people stepping out of the darkness. At least a dozen. They came from both sides of the road, emerging from the tree line in a loose, steady line like they'd all decided at once to approach. They weren't rushing. They weren't shouting. They were simply walking toward us. There was a street light ahead, pale yellow, weak, the kind that barely lights anything. Under that light, their outlines sharpened. They looked like people, just people, tall, gaunt people. Their clothing was what stood out first, not scary, just odd. Long coats, high collars, old-looking boots, a few wide-brim hats, like something out of an old photograph. Formal in a way that didn't match a snowy road in the middle of nowhere. But in that moment, my brain did what brains do. They saw we were stuck. They're coming to help. It's awkward, but fine. In the back of my mind, I knew better. Christina didn't say any of that out loud. She just watched them get closer, her shoulders rising, her breath shallow. Then she said, calm but urgent, "Get back in the car." I didn't question it. I climbed into the driver's seat. She got in fast and locked her door. I locked mine. Right after the locks clicked, bang. A tall man was at my window like he'd appeared from the dark in a single step, close enough that my skin prickled. His face was pale, thin, and mostly hidden by the brim of his hat. He knocked again, firm, impatient. Then, like we were neighbors on a bad night, he spoke. "Looks like you folks are plumb stuck," he said. His voice came through the glass clear enough to raise the hairs on my arms. "Need any help?" Christina grabbed my forearm hard. I didn't answer. I didn't crack the window. I just started the engine. I put it in drive and pressed the gas. The tires spun. For a stretch of time that felt endless, maybe 20 seconds. The car refused to move. The engine strained. The tires chewed. The car rocked but didn't climb out. The man at my window didn't step back. He just watched. Then the tires caught. The car lurched forward hard enough to slam us back into our seats, and I didn't ease out. I peeled out. Snow and grit sprayed behind us. The rear end fishtailed for a heartbeat, and I corrected and accelerated down the road like being polite could get us killed. In the rearview mirror, the streetlight shrank. The people under it became silhouettes again. For half a second, my mind tried to settle. They were just people. We're leaving. It's over. Then Christina gasped. "Dawson," she said, voice thin. "Look behind us." I glanced in the mirror, and my stomach dropped. They were coming after us. All of them, running, on all fours, like galloping animals. Their long coats flared behind them as they moved, snapping and dragging in a way that should have tangled their legs, but didn't. Their bodies folded and extended with a speed that made no sense. Human shapes moving with something non-human underneath. And the worst part, they were gaining. I looked down at the speedometer. 55 miles per hour. They were gaining at 55. Christina's hand went to her mouth, and for a second she didn't make any sound at all, just stared, like her brain had hit a wall and couldn't climb over it. I pressed harder on the accelerator. The car vibrated on the uneven road. Snow flashed through the headlights like static. My hands were locked on the wheel so hard my wrists hurt. They were still gaining. I pushed it past 75. The engine whined. The steering felt light on slick patches, like the tires were deciding whether they wanted to keep gripping the road. In the mirror, they stayed there, dark shapes pounding the pavement, still coming, still hunting. Then finally, the distance stopped shrinking. Then it started growing, slow, grudging inches at first, then feet, then yards. They didn't stop chasing, they just couldn't keep gaining at that speed. And then the railroad tracks came up ahead again. I barely had time to react. We hit them and the car rattled violently, the whole frame shuddering. The steering wheel jerked. For a heartbeat, the car slid sideways, and I saw the edge of the road and the black beyond it and thought, this is it. But the tires caught, I corrected, hard, and we stayed on the road. And almost at the exact moment we crossed those tracks, the dread vanished, like somebody flicked a switch. The pressure in the air disappeared. My chest loosened. Christina exhaled like she'd been underwater. I looked in the rearview mirror. They were gone. Not falling back, not fading. Gone. Then my phone chimed. The GPS came back to life like nothing happened. Continue for 35 minutes to your destination, it said, cheerful and bright. Christina stared at the screen like it was offensive. Neither of us suggested turning back. We just kept driving because getting to a house full of people felt like the only reasonable thing left in the world. 35 minutes later, we pulled into Clara and Miles's driveway. Everything there was bright and perfect. Tasteful lights, pristine landscaping, huge windows glowing warm. The kind of place designed to make you feel like you're supposed to be impressed. Clara opened the door in a designer dress with a champagne flute already in her hand. "There you are," she said brightly. "We were starting to think you weren't coming. Come in, you have to see the house." Miles appeared behind her with that polished smile. "Wait till you see the entertainment wing." Christina smiled. I smiled. We stepped inside and played our part. They gave us the full tour. Every room, every feature, every detail. The home theater, the wine room, the master suite, the heated floors, the custom, everything. We nodded and laughed at the right times. We watched the ball drop at midnight. We cheered like normal people, and then, as soon as it was socially acceptable, we left. We drove home with clear directions and stuck to roads that stayed lit and populated. No shortcuts. No, maybe the GPS knows best. Just the long, safe way. It wasn't until we were inside our own house, door locked, lights on, that Christina finally said it out loud. "What were they?" she whispered. And that's where the real nightmare started. Because the fear didn't stay on that road, it followed us into our conversations, quiet ones at first, then the kind you have at 2 a.m. when your brain won't shut off. We explored every explanation, people in a remote area, a group protecting their illegal operation, maybe a cult, drugs, a reclusive community running off outsiders, a shared panic hallucination, something supernatural. But every explanation snapped at the same point. They were gaining at 55 miles per hour on all fours, moving like something built to hunt, and then, cleanly, instantly, vanishing the moment we crossed those tracks like there was a boundary out there that meant something. Christina and I don't agree on what they were. Sometimes we argue about it because arguing feels better than accepting it. It feels better than admitting there are things in the world that don't fit into any category we can handle. But there's one thing we both know. Those things were not human. That's the only conclusion that survives every replay and discussion we have. And that's what changed everything for me. Because now, when I'm out in public, when I'm driving at night, when I'm passing people on the shoulder of the road, my brain doesn't just see a person anymore. It sees a shape, and it wonders what's underneath it. How many times do we pass things that look like people, but are something else? How many times do we hold doors, nod politely, stop to help, never realizing we're standing too close to something wearing the right face? That's the thought that keeps me up. Not just the dead-end road, not even just the chase. It's the idea that they're still out there, somewhere beyond the edges of the map, waiting for the next car to slip off the shoulder at the wrong time. And if you think I'm being dramatic, fine. But I'm telling you this as someone who didn't believe in any of this before it happened. Because once you've seen something wear a human shape so deceptively, you start noticing how easily the world accepts shapes, how quickly we assume, how naturally we trust, how often we just keep driving. And sometimes, when it's quiet enough, I swear I can hear that rhythm again. Faint at first, like hands and boots on pavement, like too many limbs moving too fast. Maybe it's memory, maybe it's fear, or maybe it's them, still out there, finding another road, another night, another set of headlights to step into. So if you ever find yourself lost at night, real lost, and your map starts guessing instead of guiding, don't push deeper just to prove you can. Turn around while you still can. Because you don't always get a second chance to realize the thing on the side of the road isn't human until it starts moving.